Hi, welcome back to the Teardrop trailer build. It's been a little while since you've seen us last. My last video should cover just about everything else that was done in the meantime, but today we're going to talk about putting the aluminum skin on the roof.
Just go ahead and imagine some trendy stock music inserted right here.
Today I'm cleaning up and kind of restoring, I guess, this old window. This is off of a totally different trailer, but I'm going to be using it. You've probably seen it in other shots. On the front of the Teardrop, it was coated with this gross, super old black paint. So we're using this Jasco paste paint remover. It's working pretty good. I've got 2 applications on it so far. And it actually did take off most of the paint, but there are a couple spots where I think it's layered thicker. So we're going to hit it one more time. I'm also soaking the hardware for the window in this CLR. You can really see it going to work there. Hold on, focus. There it is. Look at that. Hopefully it's not dissolving my bolts, but did want to try and take some of the rust off of those just because they were a little tricky coming off. And, oh, here it is. I was going to say, I have no idea where I put it. I have the clear piece of Lexan, which was my window pane that was in there. It obviously had been replaced at some point in time, but I'm just going to use it because it's not broken and it's clear. Anytime you're scraping aluminum, you do not want to use a metal scraper. It will leave gouges because the scraper is harder than the aluminum. It will dig in, it will use gouges. You don't want to use a utility knife or a metal scraper or anything. I'm using one of these plastic like Bondo scrapers. That's really good for the paint that's already been lifted off, but for the stuff that's a little bit more persistent, I'm using a plastic spoon. It's just rigid enough that it's harder than the paint, but obviously it's not harder than the aluminum. So this is kind of perfect for this job. I definitely recommend using something like that. What I did here was create this kind of latch for my window. It's just made out of a bent coat hanger and one of these little binder clips as a ring to pull it. This will allow me to either push open my window to leave it open or pull it closed. The only thing I have left to figure out is how to actually secure it closed.
Okay, so the window would have been reinstalled again after the aluminum sheathing goes on the outside, which is what I'm about to show you, but I didn't really have any footage of that lined right up and made a nice transition from cleaning and prepping the window frame, reassembling, and onto the aluminum sheathing. So here you can see how it operates from the inside. You'll see shots of it from the outside once the skin is on the trailer.
So like I said, I got the aluminum itself. Rather than ordering it online or anything, I found a local repair facility that repairs semi-trucks and trailers. And they always have those 4x8 sheets in stock. I wanted to do a custom size. I didn't want to have any seams on the top of my trailer. I needed a 14-foot length. However, to order that was just ridiculously expensive, and nowhere around me had it in stock. So I went with something that they had in stock. It was pretty cheap. It was just over $100 a sheet, and I picked it up, so I paid nothing for shipping. So I'm going to be into this roof for about $240 or so. So it could have been a lot worse. If you can find it for cheaper, great. But I've really been looking for quite a while. I mean, the rest of the trailer is virtually done, and I've really been putting this off because I didn't want to spend the money, and I was trying to find the best deal. But this is just about as good a deal as you're gonna get out there. So if you can find a local place like that, I would go with them rather than some faceless online metal supply chain. And that's my shop local plug for today. You can see on the trailer, we're going to go, actually probably going to start on the front side, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to bring it just past the very bottom of the wood, and I'm going to fold a little lip into it. It's going to come over the top. We have the vent in the middle that we're going to cover over, and we're going to cut it out from the inside when we're done. Same with the window on the front. And then down to this bottom edge, and same thing, fold it over.
We're probably going to lay it out so our seam is somewhere back here. Again, I'm not going with any insulation on the roof of this trailer. However, if I was going to, now is when I would put it on. I would do, you know, those thin sheets, maybe the styrofoam, over the top of the Luan and kind of sandwiched in between the aluminum and the Luan. But I'm not going to do that because I'm not really going to be doing any winter camping in here, and I figure if I am, I'll just layer up. We've run into an issue here, and that is that this 4x8 sheet of aluminum is actually 49 inches wide. It's problematic because 4 feet is 48 inches, and our sheet clearly measures 49 inches, leaving us with a 1-inch overlap. And I don't have any tools to cut this aluminum, at least in a nice crisp straight line without bending it all over the place, which I don't want to do to my $100 sheet of metal. Well, I did it. I ended up using the grinding wheel, the angle grinder there. And just because these seams are all going to be hidden under pieces of trim and stuff, you know, I didn't get a very straight edge. I'm going to file it down a little bit just so I don't cut myself putting it up. But if you're going to have exposed seams, do not use this method. You will not get... I was able to get my line pretty straight, but it's not like, you know, it's not like perfect. But since it's going to be underneath, I got the corner trim to go over the top of everything. You won't even see it. I can live with it. I've got my sheet, my first sheet here. It's all set. I cut these little notches to go around the frame and around my wiring, and I filed everything down so everything's nice and smooth. What I'm going to do now is I bought several rolls of this. It's a butyl putty tape. Full stop for just a second here. This stuff is putty, so don't leave it out in the sun. That's why you see me kind of hiding it under the aluminum sheeting there. It's over $30 a roll, so you don't want it to melt on you and get wasted. This is what they use on, you know, RVs and sealing windows and all kinds of things. So I'm just going to go nuts with it here. We're going to have a layer basically between the wood and the aluminum. And then we've got our aluminum rails that are going to go on the corner. I'll show you those in a second. We're going to have another layer on top of the aluminum. So we're going to have the self-tapping screws. They're going to go all the way through, and they're just going to go through 2 layers of this butyl tape. That should keep this totally watertight. So I'm actually really having a lot of trouble with this. This job sucks. If you can, find help, because doing it by myself is virtually impossible. Part of it stems, I think, from this is a lot thicker than the material I originally wanted. And this curve, it just having such a problem making that curve and staying even on both sides. I've actually tried it. This is my second time. I started from the bottom first. That didn't work. I started from the top. And it's not really working either. Well, folks, I must have found a way to make it work because I ran out of video clips here, but we did end up, I did end up recruiting some help. We turned it into a probably 3-man job, you know, 2 guys holding it, one actually, you know, fastening the thing down. And you can see here in a couple of these pictures the corner trim that I ended up using. That was all ordered from online, and shaping it around the corners was definitely one of the hardest parts. I tried just bending it, and of course then you crimp it. You know, if you've ever tried to bend like a copper tubing or something, it was kind of like that. So then I tried bending it on a jig, and I wasn't really able to do that. I ended up just basically tapping it with a hammer, as you can see, to get that curvature around. And I'm not thrilled with the way it turned out, but I think it probably could have been worse.
The more gradual curves on the back side of the trailer were much easier and actually came out fairly neat. My flat seam on the roof came out really nice. I used an aluminum carpet strip for that with the same thing, that butyl tape. And I used that same method on both the very front edge and the very back edge of my aluminum sheets on the trailer. After everything was on there, the corner channels, as you can see in this picture, got a nice bead of black caulk all the way lengthwise on the sides. I used painter's tape so that I got a nice crisp line on that. And my stainless steel screws did a really nice job of dressing everything up. They all came out pretty nice and uniform. They look good. The tapes held up good, and I can tell you for a fact that over a year, almost 2 years later now, there are no leaks at all in the trailer, so my method definitely worked. Well, thanks everyone for watching this latest installment. Let me know what you think of my aluminum job, and if you haven't seen the other videos in the series, check them out. Thanks for watching. Please give me a like and maybe subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.